Forge Gang! I am still a hard man! I am your host, Imperator of Forge, otherwise known as Forge Warhammer, and thank you so much for watching. I think that this is going to make, on the one hand, this probably will not be very interesting of a watch through, but it's not going to be very long anyways, and it's nobody really in the sector that I'll be critical of. So I think that that'll make most people happy, but this is about Jim196, Jim, the ortho bro guy. Anyways, he's criticized me of running a Vienna coffee house, which makes no sense because I don't live in Austria. I don't even live in Europe. And he is into this self-censorship thing. He is... Now, at first, Jim was very open-minded and seemed to be very bright and pretty interesting to talk to. But now he's going into this bit of a tangent that going to gambling houses or going into casinos and gambling is more productive than being on the internet, which makes absolutely no sense. I don't know where he gets that logic at all. Not very valid or sound logic. He's criticized my platform in the past of being a Vienna coffee house, and anytime that I ever try to go into a call on his channel, recently anyways, he's booted me. He booted me out, and I was going to talk to him about the Charlie Kirk stuff, and he just booted me because he was afraid that I would ask or talk about a question or a subject that made him very nervous to talk about, and he knew that he would be embarrassed by it in front of his friends, so he booted me before I even had the opportunity to even say anything. Now, I was muted, but I figured he wanted me to be muted. Maybe he didn't know who I was, if I was who I claimed to be, I don't know, but Jim is starting to become a lot more like his idols, Jay Dyer and Southern Israelite. And by the way, Southern Israelite outed him a good while ago about Christus Victor or Christus Victor theology. And he still basically bends over and kisses Southern Israelites just like he does with Jay Dyer. Now, maybe he will wise up to it eventually. Jim is relatively young, and I'm not going to be too hard on him because of his age. He's in his 20s. No, he's not under 18. He's just in his 20s, and so I'm not going to be too hard on him. Also, he's friends with Rick Perry. I'm friends with Rick Perry. So I don't want to be too mean or too rude, but I just think that he doesn't have a very high opinion about me. Maybe because I'm not Orthodox, but you know what? Rick Perry and Southern Israelite and Reformed Stoic are not Orthodox. Most of the people from that corner of the internet are not Orthodox. And it's like, bro, I don't run a Vienna coffee house. You're going to have to explain that one better. I know that you were trying to crack a joke. I get it. But it wasn't a very the joke that you were trying to crack wasn't really one that a lot of people got. I got it, but I don't think that most people really got it. But anyways, and by the way, that's not an excuse to question someone's ideology or philosophy or someone's theological beliefs. That's not making a valid argument. When you say that, you're not making a valid point. I just wanted you to know that, Jeem196. But anyways, he has gone on a bit of a tangent about all this stuff about how you should go and spend all your money gambling and basically run into a big debt. And somehow that is more productive than playing more than 5 hours of video games. Or being antisocial or somehow. Well, I'll say this. Casinos and gambling houses are specifically, purposefully tailored so that you don't win against the house. You're going to lose far more money than you're going to win, and it's actually very counterproductive to go to do that, to play a lottery machine. It is no more productive than playing 5 hours on a video game or playing 5 hours of Call of Duty or any video game of the sort. And by the way, playing video games is actually good for your motor skills, your hand-eye coordination skills, and your thinking skills and your motor skills are very improved by doing video games. I understand that video games are not for everyone, but I don't play a bunch of video games all the time. I play substantially less amounts of video games relative to some other people around me. In fact, I've had people who follow me criticize me precisely for not playing enough games or having enough game streams. So I'm actually quite the opposite of this make-believe that you have decided to propitiate into your mind to make excuses about not engaging with people that you don't necessarily like or don't feel that you necessarily have to go to said ends to have to debate. Well, I could debate you, Jeem196, and I could beat you anywhere, any day, buddy. Anytime, anywhere, any day, I'd beat you in a course of theology. This idea of having a social life, if this was the 2000s, I could understand that. Even if this was the early 2010s, any time that's pre-COVID, I could understand what you're trying to relate about with that. This is not pre-COVID, though. You're not making an argument. Like, society is ruined. Society is ruined, and like America is going down the drain. And you're telling people that they need to go to game slot houses or game rooms and casinos, and that's going to be more productive for them than playing multiplayer video games? Are you for real, dude? Jeem, are you for real, man? No. Not after COVID. Like, no, bro. Most people don't have the money to go to casinos anyways, but that's like, I don't know what kind of a harebrained idea you got that from. But that is not a proper critical analysis of society, okay? There's lots of people who are introverts that are never going to adapt to social life, okay? Society is way too competitive, and it's broken anyways, and it caters to women, okay? Jeem, you're not a woman, okay? If you were Jeem 196, if you were a woman and you were saying this and telling this to other women, I could understand, but you're a guy. And like, the society is run by women. Society caters to women and gay extroverts, and that is what runs and dominates society, is like women and gay extroverts. Introverts of either gender are never going to be able to adapt or accustomate or accommodate themselves to that. Okay, I'm not going to ever waste my money on gambling. I've never gambled and I never will. Okay? Present to me an adequate, valid argument to give sound reason to this analogy that you're trying to give. This is silly, Jeem 196. And your orthodoxy stuff, I find to be absolutely laughable. Not so much the theology, but when you say that it's not necessary to go deeper into the philosophy other than what the ecumenical councils agreed upon. Well, then why did you read Southern Israelites' books? You could have just read the ecumenical councils and the church fathers and what they wrote, and that was it. If that is true, then you could at least be consistent about that. Then why did you try to read Southern Israelite and Jay Dyer's material on epistemology and metaphysics? Like, evidently, you do seem to think that there is something deeper in the metaphysics that is described in that said epistemology. So, I don't know what to make of you as of right now. I don't know if I should laugh at your expense, Jeem, or if I should rather feel embarrassed for you. Either way, I'm done with my rant. That was pretty much it. Interdimensional Lizard says, Forge! What's up, Interdimensional Lizard? All right. I didn't have much to say about this. You're going to, Jeem 196, you're going to have to make a little bit of a better give a bit of a better explanation for the Vienna coffee house and the gaming casinos, because you're saying that it's bad for me to go and socialize at a coffee house because philosophy is bad, but it's perfectly fine for people to go and socialize at casinos, even though people likely have discussed philosophy and Hellenic metaphysics at casinos as well. You realize, Jeem 196, you realize that there are coffee houses in some casinos in Vegas, right? You know that, right? Jeem. You know that they have coffee houses in casinos, right? You know that, right? Okay. Stop being stupid, Jeem. Anyways, I'm Imperator of Forge. Thank you for watching. I'm done. Yeah, I'm done now.